In the previous time, we started with 3E. Yes. Question 2. Again. Actually, question 2 is an important one because we have to deal with a horizontal force. We have to deal with a horizontal what? Force. Okay. Again, we have inclined plane like this. This is given. Okay, no matter the way that the inclination is, right. If the inclined plane in this way or in this way, the same thing. Okay, no matter. Fine. Where is your reason? Whatever the direction of the inclined plane. The angle here is alpha. Okay. Here we have object with 2 kilograms. Okay, I may draw it like this. And actually, the only difference is there's 20 newtons here, right? Force applied horizontally, right? Applied horizontally. And actually, the inclined plane is smooth, right? So no friction, no frictional force. Okay, no frictional force. Okay? Okay, so what are the forces again? In order to do any question like this, we have to determine the forces. First of all, here we have what? Normal force. Again, normal force is perpendicular what?
To the surface.
To the surface. Perpendicular what? To the surface. Okay. Also we have what? Weight perpendicular to the ground, like this. This is the weight, which is 2G. Okay. And also we have this force. Actually, as what we mentioned before, the head of this force lies on the object. What we have to do, I have to shift this force here. Instead of doing it this way. 20 what? Newtons. Same direction, same everything, but I have to shift it instead here. So here, in this position, its tail lies where? On the object. Clear? Okay, any question about this point? Look to the angle. This angle is what? Why? Look to the Z angle. Okay? The angle with the inclined plane is alpha. Right? This way. Z angle. Right? Z angles. Okay? Fine? So if this is alpha, this would be alpha 2. Because I will shift the force, okay, by keeping its direction and magnitude as they. Okay? فالangle high alpha with the inclined plane, I will keep it with what? The inclined plane. Okay? Fine? Any question? So what I have to do with this? I have to erase it. No need for this. Okay, fine. The third step now, what I have to do, I have to draw the axes, okay? This is what?
X-axis.
This is the x-axis, okay? And perpendicular to the plane is what? Y-axis. Here we have two forces should be resolved. This force and this force. Because they lie between x-axis and y-axis. Any question about this point? Okay. Directly, without deep thinking about this is alpha. This is what? Alpha. Directly, without deep thinking about this is what? 2G sine alpha. And here?
2G cosine alpha.
Yes, 2G cosine alpha. Any question about resolving the weight? Any question? Sure? Okay, fine. What I have to resolve? 20 newtons. Clear? Look here. The angle is with what? With the x-axis. Okay? So here what do we have?
20 cosine alpha.
Yes, excellent. 20 cosine alpha. Clear? And with the y-axis here, Then here we have what? 20 sine alpha. In this way, okay? 20 what? Sine alpha. Because this force lies between this axis and this axis. So it should be resolved along this line and along this line, along this axis and this axis. Clear? Any question? Okay, fine. No friction because the inclined plane is smooth. Now we are given something and we have to know how to deal with this. Tan alpha equals what? 3/4, right? This is given to us. Okay? Actually, in the past papers, also in the external, this form is commonly used. We will not be given alpha, we will be given what? Tan alpha. How can I deal with this? Look to this. I will construct now triangle like this. Right triangle. This is what? Alpha. What is the definition of the tan? Opposite over adjacent. Right? Opposite over what? Adjacent. So this is the opposite. Right? Here this is what? The adjacent. Clear? Again, the definition of tan alpha, opposite over adjacent. Tan alpha, right? Definition, opposite over what? Adjacent. What I have to do, simply, I have to construct a right triangle in this way, with opposite 3, adjacent 4. What is this? How can I find this? How can I find it? Pythagoras. Right? I have to find this by Pythagoras. Yani x squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared. Okay? X squared, 3 squared plus 4 squared, which is what? 5 squared. If you can do this calculation, it's easy, right? Okay, fine. So, what we are asked to find first of all, normal force, right? Normal force. The normal force, yes. Which one?
What is the purpose of finding that?
Yes, Helen, we will see that. Okay, look here, please. Finding what? The normal. So normal lies along this axis, which is y, right? So I will write this way. F net, I will write, in this direction equals what? 0. Why it's 0?
There's no movement.
There is no movement along this axis. Right? Clear? Any question about this point? Sure? Okay. So what do we have here? R minus 2g cosine alpha minus 20 sine what? Alpha equals what? 0. Fine? Okay, we need a normal. So normal force equals 2g. Look how we find cosine alpha from the triangle.
Adjacent over 4 over 5.
Right?
Use tan inverse.
You can use tan inverse, but actually, if you find the tan inverse of this one, you will have alpha equals, I think, 36.9 something like this, right? And actually, if you round it, okay, to nearest one, you will have slight changes in the final answer because you will make a rounding.
If you don't round it.
The best way to do like this. Okay, look, 2g cosine alpha from this triangle. Look to this triangle. 2g cosine alpha equals what?
4 over 5.
4 over 5. Right? Cosine alpha 4 over 5. So this is multiplied by 4 over 5. Plus, and we move this to the other side. 20. Sine alpha is what?
3 over 5.
Sine alpha 3 over 5. Sine 3 over 5. Here 3 over 5. So the normal force equal
27.7.
20.7.
7.7.
Okay? Next, what we are asked to find the acceleration, right? The acceleration. Pay attention to the context of the question. This force causes the object to move where?
Upward.
Upward. It's mentioned in the question. You can find it, right? Look here. The diagram shows, okay.
It's being pushed up.
Yes, it's being pushed up. We don't have what?
Friction.
The acceleration. Clear? Right. How can we find the acceleration? Just pay attention here, please. F net again. Why choose? Look here. Just pay attention. Why did they select this direction as positive? Because direction of movement, right?
Yeah.
This direction has positive because the movement is where? And up the plane, right? Up what? The plane. Right. What do we have now here? 20 cosine alpha, right? Positive. Here minus 2g sine alpha equals mass 2 times what? A. Okay? 2 times A. Any question about substitution? So, this becomes cosine alpha from the triangle. Cosine alpha from triangle. 4 over 5, right? 4 over 5. Minus 2g. Sine alpha from the triangle. 3 over 5. Okay? Equals 2a. Divide by 2, divide by 2. A equal 2.12 meter per second square. Guys, please don't forget the units. Okay? Clear? Yeah. The additional part, we will add here another part to the question. If the plane now is rough, right? If the plane, is rough, so the acceleration becomes what? 1.5 meter. Find what u. Look here. What is the only difference here? What is the only difference here?
Friction.
Friction. Where the friction should be added?
Downward.
Here. Here the friction. Why? Because always the friction against the motion. Okay? The friction were always against the motion. Is there any change for the any change of normal force? Yes, any change in, for the reading of the normal force or the value of the normal force? No. Right? No change what in the normal force. Look at the vertical axis. Is there any change along the vertical axis? No. So the normal force will stay the same. Where is the difference will be? Along x-axis. Along what? X-axis. What I have to do, I have here to add what? Minus what? Friction. I have to add here what? Minus friction. Equals what? Mass times acceleration. Mass is given also 2. The acceleration is 1.5. Now this is given, okay? So, minus friction equals 3, okay? So, what is the value of friction here? Same substitution, except I added here the friction. 1.24 newtons, right? This is what? The friction. How can I find the mu? Friction equals mu times r. By the way, just to remind you, this is a moving object, so the friction is equivalent to F max, right? Equivalent to F max, which is mu times r. F is what? 1.24 equals mu r, which is 27.7. Mu equals 45. You know that mu has no unit, right? Mu has no unit, it's just a coefficient. Listen, 8, it's an important question. It's an important. Actually, it has a new idea, and this idea will be frequent, and we will be asked frequently about this idea. Question 8, sorry, not 7. 7 is easy, sorry. A particle P is projected up a rough plane, which is inclined at angle alpha to the horizontal, where tan alpha, again, look, tan alpha equals what? 3/4. The coefficient of friction is given. Coefficient of friction is what? 1/3, right? The particle is projected from the point A with a speed 20 meters per second initial, and comes to instantaneous rest at the point B. Comes to instantaneous rest at point B. This is at A, this is where? At B. Show that while P is moving up the plane, its deceleration is 13/15 g. 13/15 g. Look here now. To find deceleration, I may use equations of motion or Newton's second law. For equations of motion, if you look, we are given only u and v. So these information are not enough to find what? The deceleration, right? What I have to use? Newton's second law, right? Okay. What do we have here? This is the object. What is its mass? It's not given. It's not given. Okay. So the mass is mg. Okay. It's projected upward, so the motion were upward. We have also what? Normal force, right? Perpendicular to the surface. And we have also what? Friction down the plane. Why down the plane? Yes, because the movement is where? Upward. This is the friction. Okay? Is there any other forces? No. The second step, what I have to do? I have to draw what? The axis. This is the x-axis. And this is what? This is x, this is y. Directly, this is what? Alpha. Okay, this is alpha. Normal force lies along y-axis. Friction lies along x-axis. Weight lies where? Between them. So I have to resolve it. Direct down the plane, always we have what? mg sine alpha. Here mg cosine what? Alpha. Look, the same steps would be done for every question. Okay? Any question about this? Okay, fine. So I don't have information that can help me to find the acceleration by using motion graphs. By using equations of motion. So I have to use what? Newton's second law. I have to use Newton's second law. Where is the direction of motion? This way. So F net in this direction, right? In this direction equals what? Mass times acceleration. What do we have now? No any forces here, right? So here, minus mg sine alpha minus friction, right? Equals what? M times A. M times what? A. To find A, what I have to find? Friction.
From you and to find R.
Again, we have to find R. Okay. So F net along this direction equals 0. Again, no motion along this direction. Actually, Aslan, if you remember, we rotate the axes, so we will have the motion on one dimension only, or in one dimension. The other dimension will be at rest, right, for this dimension only. Okay, what do we have here? R minus mg cosine alpha equals what? 0. So the normal force equals what? mg cosine alpha. Again, R in the positive direction, mg cosine alpha, the negative direction in the assigned positive direction. Okay, fine? So, now, look the benefit of keeping everything as there, or as it is. Yeah, I will do everything. Okay, now this equation, minus mg sine alpha, again, tan alpha is what? 3 over 4. Actually, after a while, you will memorize this from practice actually. This is alpha, right? 3 opposite, right? 3 opposite, 4 what? Adjacent. This is 5. Okay? We will use this frequently, actually, commonly it will be used. Sine alpha is what? 3 over 5. Sine alpha, 3 over 5. Minus. Friction is in mu times r, right? Friction is what? Mu times r. What is mu? 1/3. R is mg cosine what? Alpha. From the triangle, cosine alpha 4 over 5. 4 over 5. This will equal what? M times A. Look the benefit now. Can I cancel M? Yes, I can cancel M, not G.
Over M.
Or divide the equation by M, because all the terms have what? M. So no need now to have the value of what for the mass. Cancel M, cancel M, cancel M. Right? Well, what we will have eventually, minus 3 over 5g. Third times this would be 4 over 15g equals A. Okay? Because we have to keep it we have to show this, right? We have to show this that the deceleration is 13g over 12. Why did I keep here g? Because we are asked to show that the acceleration is what? 13g over 15, right? We are asked to show this. But I kept here what? G. Clear? You got the point? So I kept G here because we are asked to show that the acceleration 13 over 15g. So by making common denominator, you might multiply here by 3 if you would like. Minus 3 minus 4 minus what? 13 over 15g. The deceleration equals deceleration equals what? 13 over 15g meters per second squared. Okay guys? This is A. This is what? A. Let me complete. B. What we are asking B? Distance. To find distance now we have U. In B we are asked about distance between what? A and B. We have U, we have V, we got A, the acceleration. So we will use this equation, V squared, U squared plus 2AS. By the way, now to substitute this here, I have to find or to write the A in terms of, and I have to find the value of A. Yeah, definitely. Negative. And in order to find S here, A should be, or the value of G should be substituted as 9.8. And on V squared 0. U squared is 20 squared. 2. A 13 over 15 by negative times what? 9.8. Okay? 2 times minus 13 over 15. Instead of G, I have to substitute what? This is multiplied by S. Move this here. شو بصير لنا؟ minus 400. Right?
It's long, 23.5 meters.
So S equals
23.5.
23.5. يلا. طبعا if you would like to find the time, same thing, صح? If you would like to find the time,
V equals U plus 80.
C, V equals U plus 80, right? If I want to find the time, V equals what? U plus 80. V is given 0, U 20, A minus 13 over 15 times 9.8 times what? T. T equals 2.35 seconds. Okay? We stop here for 5 minutes, right? Then we will complete the important part, which is D. Okay. Now part D. Okay? Part what? D. What we are asking part D?
The speed of P when it returns to A.
Yes, the speed of P when it returns what?
A.
To A again. What does this mean? Let's say it starts from here. Let's say this is A. Okay? It's projected upward. Let's say to B. At B, its velocity becomes what? 0. Okay? At B, its velocity becomes 0. Then it will what?
Go back down.
Return back. Okay? Now, my question is, does this particle have the same acceleration while it's moving downward?
No.
Why?
Friction.
Okay.
The other force is the same.
Where's the friction now? Like, there's the friction here.
But this reason will be different. Like the acceleration will be
Greater?
going down.
Why?
Because it's and the friction and the mg sine thing. Yeah.
The same forces actually. You know any change in the forces? Like why the acceleration will be different?
Friction, like
Friction,
forces
friction
are like it's going down, the friction up is going to be
Yes.
less than the friction down.
Excellent. That it's now the direction of friction changes.
That's what I said.
I'm sorry. The direction of friction now what? Changes. During the downward motion. During what? The downward motion, right? The friction becomes where?
Upward.
This direction. Here the friction now. Because even the values would be the same, nothing would be changed. Nothing would be changed for the values of the forces, but actually the direction of one of these forces will change, as well the acceleration will change, because the resultant force also will change. So the friction becomes in this direction, since now it's moving where? Down. So I have to redo what? The calculation to find the new acceleration Then by finding the new acceleration, I can find what the final speed. The final speed. Look here, the configuration here. Where is now the resultant force direction?
Down.
Down. Because the movement were down. What do we have now? mg sine alpha minus friction. Right? mg sine alpha minus friction equals what? ma. Is there any change along the normal or force, or for the normal force?
No. This one?
Normal.
No.
Nothing will change, right? So the normal force will stay the same. Because no any of the forces along the y-axis changes. Right? No any forces along y-axis changes. Only the forces that change along where? X-axis. Clear?
No.
Fine? Same thing. So, again, let's substitute now. Okay? mg sine alpha, sine alpha again, 3 over 5. 3 over what? 5. Minus friction mu times r, right? Friction mu times r. 1/3 times what? R. mg cosine alpha 4 over 5. 4 over 5.
And 1/3 acceleration.
Okay, fine. Equals what? M times A. M times A. Again, the mass will be cancelled out of this equation.
What?
In all terms, we have mass, right? All the terms have mass. Cancelled out, cancelled out. I can cancel out any of the variables if and only if it exists on all terms. Okay, it exists in all terms. Okay, so now 3 over 5g. 3 over 5g minus 4 over 15g equals A. Right? Equals what? A. We have to do the common denominator or by using the calculator, no matter, because it's not a show. And it's not, we're not asked to show this. Times 3, 9 minus 4, 5 over 15g equals A. This is actually 1/3 g. So A equals what? 1/3 g. And this is an acceleration. This is what? Acceleration. Clear? Then I have acceleration now. The initial speed, yes. So initial speed 0, right? And we need the final speed. Acceleration is given. Sorry, it's not given. It's found. And the displacement also was found, right?
3.5.
And the final velocity, right? The acceleration and displacement come.
23.5.
So same displacement from A to B or from B to A. Clear? Then you can do this calculation by using the equation v squared u squared plus 2as. Okay? Clear? Done. Any question about this?
No.
Okay, good. Now, the same concept will be used in chapter 4. But the only difference is what? We will not talk about dynamic, we will talk about what? Static. Static, what does this mean? In Fnet, along any axis is what? 0. Fnet along any axis is 0. Same treatment, same everything, right? Except there is no acceleration. Except that there is no acceleration. So open now your book page 193, section 4A. Let's go to exercise 4A. Exercise what? 4A. Same concept. Okay. What do we have here? Yes. Each of the diagram shows particle in equilibrium. In what? In equilibrium. Equilibrium means the resultant force is 0. Under the action of 3 or more forces. Using the information given in the diagram, in each case, okay, resolve resolve the forces in x direction, y direction, find the magnitude of any unknown forces, pq or theta, or what? Theta. I will start with the first one. We have 3 forces, q newtons, right? P newtons, and here what? 5 newtons. This angle is what? So like the family side.
Really? Oh, okay.
Sorry. So, okay, please. How many forces here we have? 3 forces. As usual, first of all, I have to resolve. Which force?
Next direction.
This one. Okay? Because this is the y-axis and this is what? The x-axis. This force should be resolved. This force should be resolved. This one will be here. 5 cosine 30. Here 5 sine 30. Again, this axis takes cosine because the angle given with the x-axis, right? And this will take sine as you know. So now, F net along the vertical axis is 0 because it's in equilibrium, and F net along the horizontal axis is 0. Actually, whatever the direction of the arrow will be the same because there is no movement. There is no movement. What do we have along the vertical? P minus 5 sine 30 equals what? 0. Right? So P equals what? 5 sine 30. 2.5. Yes, excellent. So P equals what? 2.5 newtons. Along the horizontal, Q minus what? 5 cosine 30 equals 0. So Q equals what? 30 newtons. Is there any difference?
No.
Same as what? As chapter 3. Same as chapter 3.
Das geht aber. Schön angekommen.
Yes.
I have a question. Okay, so Pn has to be equal to 5 sine 30. So we can just find the 5 sine 30.
Yes, P equals 5 sine 30.
Yeah, so we find all that.
I have to start always from scratch. Right? From the formula, F net equilibrium, I have to clarify these things for you. But if you wrote this, okay, fine, no matter. Let's try it. Okay? Clear?
So they always have to equal.
Yeah, opposite forces are equal. Equilibrium, what does this mean? Opposite forces are equal. Simple. Right? But I have always to make and formulate everything. Starts from the formula, blah blah. Okay. What do we have? This is y-axis. Q. 60 newtons. Here what? P. This angle is given 120 degree. This angle is given 45 degree. Okay, fine. What I have to do before doing anything? Resolve, right? I have to. Two forces now need a resolve. Look, this force lies between x and y, and this force lies between what? X and y. This force already lies where? Along x. So, guys, look at this angle given. I need only this.
30, 90,
Or, whatever, but this is the simplest, it's what? 30. Any question about that? This is 30, right? Because the whole angle is what? 120, right? The whole angle is 120. And this angle is 120. I need the angle either with x-axis or what? Y-axis. So it becomes 30. So what is the resolving component here? Q cosine 30, and here Q sine what? 30, right? Y, look here. 30 is given with what? With the vertical component, right? 30 is given with the vertical component. The Q cosine 30, Q sine 30. What about 6? 6 sine, cosine 45, and here 6 what? 6 sine 45. Again, the horizontal component, right? Or the angle is given with the horizontal component, so it will take cosine, while vertical will take what? Sine. For equilibrium, F net vertical 0, F net along horizontal axis is 0. What do we have along vertical? Q cosine 30 minus 6 sine 45 equals what? 0. Okay? Here we have to find Q. Q equals right? Q cosine 30 equals 6 sine 45. Divide by cosine 30. Divide by cosine 30. Q equals 2 square root of 6 newtons. Okay? Along the horizontal, what do we have? We have 6 cosine 45, Q sine 30. We will check. No. I will check. 6 cosine 45, Q sine 30, what? P. Along what? Horizontal axis or x-axis. فبالشكل 6 cosine 45 plus Q sine 30, okay? Minus P equals what? 0. Clear? Any question? We need a P. So move P in this way. And the other side, 6 cosine 45 plus Q 2 square root of 6 sine 30. P equals, actually we may have certain mistakes in the final answers that written in the book, right? At the end of the book. P equals
6.69.
6.69 newtons. Be careful, pay attention about, or be aware, sorry, about what number of significant figures and what the unit and the unit. Okay? Copy the answers, please. ممكن يكون mistake from the book, right?
I think P cosine 30, P sine 30, we also
Some P ما عنده غلط بعض. It's clear, yeah, it's clear that there's a mistake in the answer.
question 3 twice.
Could be, yes, could be.